Being hurt by someone also means accepting that their mistakes trample over the stillness and peace of your own mind. When you choose to love a stranger, you have opened the door of your life for them to walk in. So you must also be brave enough to stand up and invite them out of your mind. Having too many wounds and sufferings while loving someone does not mean you must endure and compromise with the pain they bring. Love is healing wounds together and being able to make painful memories sublimate into true happiness. If the person you chose to walk with can give all their love to compensate for all the disadvantages and losses over the past years, then know that you have met the right person. Each person may have their own standards for choosing a loved one, but regardless, being beside someone who can bring a sense of peace is much more precious for souls that need to be loved and protected. Amidst a life that already has too many storms and tempests, no one wants suffering, but it is the truth of life. The more we fear and avoid suffering, the easier it is to encounter it. Going through days of suffering is to learn more great lessons of human life. Suffering is the teacher that teaches us what true happiness is. Stepping over a pain or sorrow, the horizon of freedom becomes much more spacious. Being able to forgive a wound caused by someone, the cycle of reincarnation moves a step further away. Suffering now may break our hearts, but later, when looking back, we may have to bow our heads in gratitude for those pains and sorrows. It was once said that every sadness is beautiful and every suffering teaches a lesson of compassion. If we have understood what suffering is like, we will certainly no longer want to cause such suffering to anyone else. That is called compassion through understanding. And dear loved one, even if you are living in much suffering at present, do not be afraid. Just wholeheartedly contemplate the true nature of suffering. When you have learned enough lessons about suffering, it will depart on its own to make room for happiness and peace to be present. Even if it hurts, you must stand up and move forward. The high and wide horizon above is pure and serene. Selfless love is still overflowing there. When our lives are precarious, what is important to you in this life? Or in other words, what currently makes you feel your life is truly meaningful? I know for sure there will be many different answers. Each of our lives has a different starting point. We cannot compare, nor can we assume everyone is the same. Some value material things and money. Those things are cherished naturally because they are very difficult to obtain. Sometimes one even has to trade blood to have them. Some value their interests and passions. Many people give up everything to do what they like and what they consider right. Therefore, their whole life only thinks about those things. Living for one's own ambitions, dreams, and ideals is not wrong. Some trade everything just to have a small, beautiful house in the suburbs and a very quiet life. Everyone will have different choices. But behind all those choices, to me the trust that others have for me is the answer I want to say right now. At this very moment, there have been many times in my life when I lost many things. Family fell apart, love broke in an instant, debts reached a level that almost made me despair. I no longer had any strength to stand up by myself before such continuous crises. Many people turned their backs on me. They limited talking to me and were no longer as close as before. That is right, not many people spend their precious time to comfort and encourage someone who has lost everything, has nothing left in hand, and carries a fairly large debt. Perhaps they fear being implicated more than losing time for me. Perhaps they fear my requests for help more than sharing to put my mind at ease. Just like that, they gradually left my life gently without a single word of explanation. But I just realized that difficulties are not scary. Difficulties are like a math problem that helps us find answers we could not answer before. Fortunately, those who left me at that time were only a small part. Siblings and friends stayed by my side, especially my mother. If at the most difficult time in your life someone is still beside you, you must definitely treasure them. Trust is an invisible thing, no one can see it and no one can manufacture it. But you can feel the trust a person has for you when you encounter the most difficulties and crises. People decide to stay by your side because they believe you will overcome all those challenges. Nothing can make you discouraged or lose your will. People still stay by your side and treat you well because you are you, your true self, your true character, not because you are someone who has everything in hand, wealth, power, and someone they can rely on or depend on. They are the ones who, more than anyone else, understand the difficulties you are tasting. In a precarious life, how many can easily find a true soulmate? Ordinary friends and brothers will be beside us a lot, finding each other in joy, having money to experience travel and expensive shopping together. Everyone craves a happy and prosperous life. Difficult times are the moment to evaluate the sincere patience of those around us toward ourselves. In reality, when money is gone, work is gone, and everything is lost, will there still be enough strength to keep people beside us without being calculating or petty? Those who leave us are probably not few. Those who turn away and treat us as strangers or invisible will also exist. But the most important thing is still the human heart. Seeing it and understanding it makes us stronger to overcome everything, stronger to love those who are still beside us, live for those who stay, let go of those who leave us, be grateful to those who always place their trust in us until the last moment. Say no to those who do not place their trust in us. Trust is something hard to get, but as long as others want to be sincere with you, they will not hesitate to give you their trust. Live better. Do not fear difficulties because at least there will be one person who trusts you. Live better for ourselves, for all those who give their precious trust to us. If we fall, it is no different from bringing them a great disappointment, and disappointment will break people's hearts. Therefore, no matter what happens, you should live well, live very well. When the pain is not yet great enough, it is still hard to let go. When people have to let go of something, they always feel troubled and uneasy. Some want to let go but cannot make a strong resolution. So what should be done? Please read the following story and contemplate it together. There was a man with a miserable face who asked a monk, "Master, why are there some things and some people I cannot let go of?" The monk said, "There is nothing that cannot be let go of." The man said again, "Master, why are there things and people that I fail to let go of time and time again?" The monk then told the man to hold a cup, and then he poured tea into the cup. The monk poured until the tea in the cup overflowed. The man immediately felt his hand getting hot and unbearable, so he put the cup down. At this point, the monk said, "In this world, there is nothing that cannot be let go of. Once you feel the pain, you will naturally put it down. Indeed, when we have fame, we find it hard to let go of fame. When we have wealth, we find it hard to let go of wealth. When we have love, we find it hard to let go of love. When we have a career, we find it hard to let go of that career. All these things make us unable to let go because in our hearts there are still thoughts and dreams or expectations about them. Or we are attracted by them because the actions of the other party have not yet touched the limit of our endurance. Generally, it is because they have not yet caused us enough pain to let go. For example, we find it hard to let go of love because in our hearts there is still hope and expectation that there will be a change in the future, and the heart is still obstructed by desire. Those who are indecisive often think back and forth, so they are slow to hold on and slow to let go. If that person experiences a major event or is near death, it can make them change. When we have a more open way of thinking and looking at a thing or a person, seeing it more lightly, then letting go becomes easier. The reason we fall into suffering is because there are many desires in our hearts. Every day we have to think about those desires. Naturally, we will feel very tired. This is like buying furniture for a new house. Initially, to satisfy needs or preferences, we buy many things. Many years later, we find the house contains too many things, including things that are never used. At that time, we think about discarding some things, but which ones should be discarded? Everything seems meaningful to us and stores memories. Therefore, we cannot bear to throw anything away and eventually keep everything, forced to accept living in a small, cramped, and frustrating space. But if one day our house has a leaking roof that makes those things wet or torn, then we easily throw them away immediately. This is exactly when it truly hurts we will naturally let go. In life, there are many things we should let go of because if we keep lingering, they will become a kind of binding. Be brave to let go, to be free and at ease, reaching liberation and joy. In moments of mindfulness, I sit back and look at the world and think about myself. Do I see anything that is permanent? The human life is just flickering between dream and reality. You are watching on the Linung Buddhist channel. Please subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to update the latest videos. Sincere thanks. In life, there are many things that do not have to go according to our will to be done well. The sun does not stop rising in the morning because you are unhappy. The moonlight does not stop fading at the end of the night because of your resentment. Closing your own eyes does not mean the world will turn into a dark night. Blinding others' eyes does not guarantee the light will belong only to you. In the world, there are only axes that are not sharp enough, not any trees that cannot be chopped down. In work, there are only people who have not thought of a method. Absolutely nothing is impossible to achieve. If they want to, they will find a way. Otherwise, they will find an excuse. In this world, the most unpleasant thing is nothing more than knowing the person you love has their heart directed towards someone else while you are still foolishly affectionate. Every meeting or parting has a certain karmic connection. Following that to be peaceful is the best thing. When someone is beside us, if we can make them feel peaceful, it is already a great success. When young, happiness is a very simple thing. When grown up, being able to live simply is happiness. Human life is precisely because of too much expectation that there is disappointment, because of far-fetched dreams that they vanish. Storing too much makes it hard to express. Some people cannot be forgotten because we cannot bear to. Others must be forgotten because they are not worth remembering. The world is bumpy. Remember to give the person beside you a little warmth. In the storms of life, give yourself a little optimism. If you know how to love life and skillfully harmonize everything, then gradually joy and happiness will spread far and wide. One should live a bit happily because life is impermanent and short. Control your state well to be serene and peaceful. No matter how much sadness and pain you have experienced, it will eventually fade into oblivion. Nothing is permanent, because life is half memory, the other half is continuing. Return all unhappy things back to yesterday. Give today trust and hope, then send all your efforts to tomorrow. Even if life has 1,000 reasons to be sad, you should also find 100 stories to make yourself happy. No matter how cruel the world is, all you need to do is keep a light heart, ignore all unsatisfactory people and things, live with your own present moment. Actually, in the depths of every person's soul, there is a hidden corner that sometimes others cannot share throughout their whole life. All difficulties and obstacles must be accepted alone and then silently dissolved. But no matter what happens, do not be upset all day, because we cannot know how much joy is waiting for us to experience tomorrow, how many stretches of road are waiting for us to walk, and how many doors need our efforts. Having joy and sadness is the human world. Having bitterness and sweetness is life. No matter how painful it is. After waking up from a sleep, let everything go into the past. Thinking about yesterday all day only makes yourself more tired. We absolutely cannot force others to love us. Only can make ourselves a person worthy of being loved. When young, thinking that bleeding is a very terrible thing, so whether it hurts or not, we cry first and then see. When grown up, we understand that many times falling tears hurt much more than bleeding. Actually, in this world, besides birth and death, everything else is a small matter. Starting from today, no matter what troublesome things you encounter, do not torment yourself. No matter how many bad things you receive, you should not feel sorrowful, because after all there is still tomorrow. Today is just a transition. In the world, there are many things that can only be encountered but not sought. Sometimes they only appear once in a lifetime. Once lost, they will not be met again. Treasure those who stay and see off those who want to leave. Do not lose all the great good things ahead because of any individual. When encountering unhappy things, Do not get angry without reason or expect sympathy from others. Because the world is inherently cold and indifferent, being too weak only makes others look down on you. Even if in the eyes of the public you are nothing, you must definitely keep your own self-respect. Do not keep thinking about one problem, and do not put all your feelings into one single person. Beside you, there are family, friends, and many other things to take care of. And remember, life always gives us new opportunities called tomorrow. Sometimes encountering many adversities helps us become strong and resilient. Facing worries and misfortunes makes the heart larger to understand and love. Sometimes success and achievement help us be excited and confident, sometimes being betrayed by life. Loving the lonely person in a precarious state. We all wish that when it rains, someone holds an umbrella. When being wronged, someone comforts. When in danger, someone protects. But everyone understands that no matter how far the road is, one must walk it oneself. No matter how many messy things there are, one must do them oneself. No matter how hard it is to accept the pain, one must step over it oneself. The world is fickle, one cannot help but be awake. Human hearts change, one cannot help but adapt. Facing what is hard to face is sometimes a responsibility. Accepting what is hard to accept will help us grow up more. Even if the human heart is often weak, one should also try to live very strongly, because no one can replace us in living this life fully. The world often does not care how much injustice you have endured, nor does it care about the hardships and sufferings. So when encountering the storms of life, just tell yourself that after passing through the storm, the sun will naturally appear. Do not waste effort sighing in front of others, because even if you speak, they will not bother. Some things, if let go, will feel light. Some people, when suddenly remembered, also make us happy. Some pains, if thought through, will help us be stronger. Being too concerned about a problem will make us circle around it endlessly. Actually, no matter how simple a matter is, if thought about too much, it becomes complicated. Just keep a calm state of mind and an open heart, then whatever comes will be simple and pass gently, leaving peaceful days for life. Fame, wealth, and love are like the moon's reflection at the bottom of the water, silently sinking in delusion, causing eternal sorrow. In life, who does not wish for a smooth journey without encountering pain? Who does not want to treasure affection and never leave? No one is perfect, and nothing is complete. Encountering petty people, do not be calculating, because being calculating only brings more trouble. Encountering complicated matters, do not care too much, because caring only makes yourself more tired. The world is large, human hearts are mixed. How can one not meet petty people? The dust of the world is deep. World affairs are fleeting. How can one not meet troublesome things? Think moderately, look broadly. If wronged, just be silent. Once resolved, smile with relief. If there is no sun, listen to the wind and watch the rain fall. If there are no fresh flowers, breathe in the fragrance of the countryside. If there is no applause, enjoy the quietness alone. Time turns, years change. No complaining, no sighing, no grieving, no calculating. Keep the heart upright and step lightly on the beautiful path. Treasure sincere feelings, maintain a positive mood. When needing restraint, take a deep breath to change the air. Facing difficulties, be calm to think and then change the perspective. Encountering failure, try again to restore confidence. Time is a one-way street. Once gone, it cannot return. Life is sometimes very simple. Once chosen, do not regret it. Humans are often very contradictory, wishing to be understood but also afraid of being seen through. In the world, some things, if thought about much, cause headaches. If thought through, they cause heartache. Count how many times we had to suppress tears to go through days of pain and despair. If one day everything seems to turn its back on us, when the sky is no longer blue and the eyes of the world no longer look at us with tolerance, the road is closed. Should we continue to walk? If you have ever been hesitant or confused in that fragile state, then surely you are on a path without much peace and full of consequences. At this time, what we need is to contemplate ourselves to see if we are truly on the right path. Some say that in the beginning, There were no roads, just people walking repeatedly, and they became roads. Similarly, the original heart was not defiled. It is just that people went deep into the dust of the world, gradually becoming hard-to-fade habits, and the heart is full of worries. There are roads covered with soft flowers and grass, but there are also roads paved with thorns and sharp objects. There is a road leading to happiness and love, but there is also a road leading to dark and miserable paths. The reason we have to walk on our path today is because we chose it before. Not everyone is lucky to walk on the right, safe, beautiful, and noble path. There are still many people who are continually lost among the blurry turns of the human world, lunging and struggling, unable to find an exit. If unfortunately stepping on such dark and dangerous roads, stand up strongly to leave, choose another path for yourself, and spread roses on every step. Life lasts a few hundred years, but how many people get that? Even if there is love, one cannot be together forever. Human life is like being fellow travelers. If not together at the start, do not hope to go together forever at the end of the road. On the journeys back to the source of light, you may be too tired of the vanity and gossip, the worries of fame and wealth, and the winning and losing of closed hearts. Human hands are tightly squeezed in narrow prejudices. Who goes on and who gives up halfway are choices that each of us must find the answer for. Only when we go through storms do we know how still our heart is. No matter what, stand up and walk. Remember that holes and thorns only lie beneath our footsteps. We still have a vast, spacious sky above our heads. Two celestial bodies still shine day and night. On the path, flowers will bloom under every step. You are watching on the Lying Buddhist channel. Please subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to update the latest videos. Sincere thanks. This life does not need too many things to make us happy at the same time, delaying a few years, and reducing a few things in exchange for peace. All conditions pass like water under the bridge, joy, sadness, love, and hate. Suffering is because of oneself. Whoever is free from the 6 desires and 7 emotions will have a peaceful life because of a serene outlook, still living among worldly conditions, still keeping the heart like a fragrant lotus in the midst of impurity, and joy and sadness of many lifetimes push into the realm of emptiness, smile. If one day we are separated, it must be because you are too busy, I am too tired, no time to contact, no mood to interact, gradually becoming cold. If one day we are separated, there must be a conflict somewhere. You do not speak, I do not ask, you pretend to be foolish, I am silent. No one takes the initiative to admit fault, gradually becoming distant. If one day we are separated, it must be because you are too disappointed, my heart is cold. Both cannot find the original care, nor the old understanding, nothing to say to each other anymore, slowly becoming far away. If one day we are separated, please remember we once cried and laughed together, went through many meaningful stretches of road together. Now even if we cannot continue, we should thank the karmic meeting. If one day we are separated, hope you take good care of yourself. Consider this affection as a beautiful memory so that whenever remembering, there is only joy and positivity, no resentment or heartache. Karma is predestined, there is meeting and there is parting, no need to be too stubborn. Many years later, who will still remember whose name, who will still keep the old joys and sorrows? Human life is a road, whoever is a passerby, let them go gently, wave goodbye, and continue your journey. The arrivals and departures in each person's life are very crowded. Most only meet for a stretch and then quickly leave according to the destined journey. Very few people stay longer. Cheerfully see off each of those karmic connections. You will encounter surprises later to live happily every day. Life is not too long nor too short. Being able to live one day is a blessing. Treasure every minute and second because once time passes, it will never return. As a human, it is not necessary to always think yourself right. Once the earth moves, everyone must move along. Since ancient times, those who acted recklessly never had a good ending. Therefore, even with ability, one must maintain proper humility. Do your work well. If it is gold, it will eventually sparkle. Even when worried, do not forget to smile. Even when in a hurry, you must pay attention to your tone. Even in hardship, do not forget to be persistent and patient. Even when tired, you must not forget to love yourself. A simple life is the happiest life. Being content brings joy. Being generous brings forgiveness. Do not think of anything too complicated. Carrying many things in the heart will surely cause fatigue. For memory, it needs periodic deletion. Delete all uncomfortable people and things in the heart cleanly. Being able to live one day is already a blessing. For one day it needs to be treasured. Life is short, only a few decades. Do not let yourself have regrets or pity. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Sadness ends a day and joy also ends a day if you keep petty matters in mind. Both body and mind will be uncomfortable. Some things, if lightly let go, will make us feel comfortable. Some people, if remembered deeply, are not necessarily happiness. Some sufferings, if viewed lightly, eventually only help us train. Bumpy roads train for oneself a part of gentleness. Storms of life help oneself keep a fresh smile. Life is about sympathy and understanding, putting joy in the heart. Silently dissolving, slowly diffusing. Human life has no if only results. The past cannot be found again. And if it could return, it would certainly no longer be perfect. You do not need to envy what belongs to others, because with effort you will also achieve it. You do not need to show off what you have, because others with effort can also achieve those things. Add a bit of joy, reduce a bit of worry. Whether rich or poor, high or low status, shallow or deep knowledge, as long as every day you smile happily and consider fatigue as nothing, then you are living the life of a saint, leisurely and free. Like wandering clouds, emotions come and go. Why should the heart be sorrowful? When sadness is like a fragile ray of sunlight at the end of the day, it comes and goes very quickly. Why bring a lonely soul back to oneself? We were not born into nobility, so everything must rely on self-effort. Remind yourself never to give up, because the future ahead is still very long. We do not have a heart of stone or diamond. When it is blurry, we will be afraid. When heartbroken, we also want to cry. Remember to take good care of yourself, because when you know how to treasure yourself, others will treasure you. Knowing how to love yourself is the only way to love others. We are not eloquent speakers, so for those who understand, no explanation is needed. For those who do not understand, explaining is useless. Just be an upright person, not ashamed before heaven, earth, and conscience. Time will eventually reveal the human heart, regardless of what kind of affection it is. As long as you are sincere, you will meet a profound person. As long as you give your all, someone will feel it. Life has many unpredictable things, and many answers do not need further explanation. If you feel happy, continue. Whether rain or wind, keep being persistent. The road under your feet is for you to walk yourself. The hardship before you is for you to experience yourself. The pain in the heart is also for you to endure yourself. Never depend on anyone. Nor do you need to wait for anything from others. Relying on anyone is not as good as relying on yourself. Anyone being good is not as good as yourself being good. Therefore, no matter what you do, remember to focus on perfecting yourself. Actually, in this world, many people may look at you and smile, but very few truly have you in their hearts. If you were hurt in the past, let it be. Definitely do not carry that burden into the future. If a tree has died, do not cling to it. And do not hope too much. Growth is a word full of pain. It is not necessarily just what is achieved, but certainly must be traded for many things. In life, living is a process of self-reflection. Do not expect everyone to understand you. Nor should you wish for everything to go according to your will. Life has no fixed pattern. Just need a pure and enthusiastic heart. If encountering worries, find your own joy. Do not forget happiness. No matter how busy you are, remember to keep a bit of youth. Do not lose your health. If tired, stop and rest for a while. Do not lose the joy of life. The future is always ahead. Just step forward strongly. Give yourself wings of freedom. Step over the pain and consequences to be a happy person. Forget the years and age. Do not let time make us old and miserable. No matter how old you are, as long as you feel the spirit is young, It is fine. Overcome the temptation of fame and wealth, because they are inherently external and limited. Usually, everyone wants to have a bit of reputation and profit and then competes to get them. Then when things do not go as expected, they turn to blame life for being unfair to them. Actually, living a simple and normal life is the greatest happiness. In life, no matter how good you are, you cannot get everyone's liking. Regardless of how well you live, there will be people who praise and people who criticize. No matter how successful you are, people will judge good and bad. Having admirers means having haters. If someone is jealous, surely someone will look down on you. Life is like that. You cannot please everyone, so do not lose your nature to please others. Everyone needs to have their own principles and self-respect. Through others' mouths, we are not a complete person but have many different versions. You only need to be a good version of yourself, because for people in the world, the eyes are the same but the perspective is different. The mouth is the same but each has a way of speaking. The heart structure is similar but the thoughts are very different. Money is the same but the way of spending follows each person's taste. Right and wrong, good and bad, are due to different positions. Different circumstances lead to different views. Even though we are humans, each individual has a way of living. One needs to walk confidently on one's own feet. The eagle does not need applause to spread its wings and fly. The grass does not need care to grow up by itself. Wildflowers deep in the forest, even if no one enjoys them, still emit a fragrant scent. Working does not need everyone to understand, just need to give it your all. Being a person does not need everyone to love, just need to be upright and generous. Flowers have 100 shapes and 1,000 types, but can still show off their colors and scents without being hindered. Living in the world, each person has a style. Why not support each other to move up? Why lower each other? If you feel it is worth it, treasure it. If happy, keep it. If someone makes you happy, be close to them. If moved, love them. Being a person, if said easy, it is not necessarily easy. To move thousands of hearts or manage the tongues of the world is certainly not easy. Being a person, if said hard, it is not necessarily hard. Just need to keep a kind heart, be a gentle person, and then walk your own path. Actually, in life, there is no difficulty that cannot be overcome. In life, there is no person who cannot be left. If not treasured and no longer meaningful, then you must be decisive to turn away. You can shed tears and feel heartbroken, but absolutely do not despair. Because the drop of tears today will be the growth of tomorrow. If you expect too much from an event, you will easily be disappointed. If you give too much in a relationship, you will feel tired. If you wait too long for a person, you will feel pain. Many things can only be held once let go, they are lost forever. No matter how good a person is, they cannot be perfect. No matter how complete an affection is, it cannot be without flaws. If you open your heart to embrace and tolerate, you will feel this world is not as bad as you think. In the miraculous journey of life, being able to meet is already a karmic connection. We should treasure it. Do not let anger wash away the good affections, leaving behind late regrets. Because we all have worries, grievances, and many things not as expected, so sometimes we feel the whole heaven and earth are dark, suddenly realizing that human affection is as thin as silk paper. Actually, the sun is always warm, the morning light is always bright every day. It is just that sometimes we are standing in the shadow. The world is large, humans are small. Some matters should not be taken too seriously. Not everything in the world is as expected. Do not squeeze yourself. If you have done your best, then whatever the result, you should welcome it happily. Life is not bad. Right and wrong are experiences, good and bad are landscapes. If the heart is peaceful, happiness will always be present. The journey of human life is not only smooth and flat, so learn how to accept and smile. Sometimes one also needs to be brave to carry a burden that exceeds normal strength a little. After trying, you will find your ability is much more miraculous than imagined. In the world, there are not too many if only. If you are the author of your life, You do not need to write a script that is too sorrowful or unfortunate. Do not stand in a far corner waiting and then worry and fear. Step forward strongly, and you will definitely find the direction. You are watching on the Linung Buddhist channel. Please subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to update the latest videos. Sincere thanks. Do not forget that the best things sometimes do not come from big things, but from the simple things we do every day. Because blessings do not come from what we have, but from the way we live. Methods to help you purify your soul and change your destiny. Every person born carries a separate journey. Some are smooth, some are struggling. There are days when the heart is as peaceful as still water, but there are also days when storms surround, making the mind tired and bored. We blame fate, blame circumstances, blame people, but then sometimes forget that our own heart is what decides everything. A pure soul is not brought by the world around, but by the way we face ourselves. When the heart is at peace, life will be light. When the heart is in chaos, even under the blue sky and white clouds, we still feel frustrated and suppressed. Therefore, to change destiny, first change your own soul. There are times when life brings us into difficult situations that make us feel unfair and see adversity. But try to stop for a moment, observe, and accept everything as it is. When a person can welcome everything with calmness, they have overcome half the road of peace. Nothing is forever. What we suffer today may turn light like a passing breeze tomorrow. One of the simplest but most powerful methods to purify the soul is letting go. Letting go does not mean running away, does not mean giving up everything, but letting go of anger, resentment, and unnecessary worries. We keep holding on to wounds in our hearts. But do we ever ask ourselves if keeping them forever makes us happier? When we learn how to let go, the heart will be lighter. When the heart is light, destiny also gradually transforms. A person living in resentment, their life will be enclosed by negative things. But a person who knows how to forgive, accept, and let everything pass like a breeze, they will feel their heart more serene each day. When the heart is as still as water, everything becomes clear. A glass of water continuously stirred cannot see the bottom. But when the water settles, everything in it will appear clearly. Our heart is the same. When there is too much agitation, it is hard for us to correctly perceive life and what is happening. But when the heart is quiet, everything will be clear. To have a quiet heart, learn to live slowly. Life is not a race. No need to chase after flashy things, no need to force yourself to carry too much. Sometimes just a moment of sitting still, listening to the wind, watching a falling leaf, taking a deep breath is enough to soothe the soul. Being content is also a way to help the heart be pure. Humans are often uneasy because they do not know what is enough. They keep chasing after money and fame, wishing for more without realizing that the more they want, the more they suffer. A person who knows how to treasure what they have, whether little or much, will feel peaceful. When the heart is peaceful, destiny naturally becomes better. Another way to change destiny is to live virtuously. When we live well, help others, and sow the seeds of love, good things will also return to us. It may not be immediate, it may take some time, but cause and effect never deviate. A person living with a heart, heaven and earth know, words also affect destiny. The words we utter every day carry energy. When we speak words of love and encouragement, our heart naturally becomes warm. When we speak harsh and resentful words, our heart will also be dominated by those negative emotions. So to have a peaceful life, start with virtuous words. Meditation is also a method to help purify the soul. Sit down, close your eyes, let go of all thoughts, only focus on the breath. No need to think about the past, no need to worry about the future, only the present moment. When we are truly present in this moment, the mind will no longer be carried away by unnecessary things. A person can change their destiny not by external things but from within themselves. When the heart is firm enough, no matter how stormy life is, they will still walk through calmly. When the heart is peaceful, no matter the circumstances, they will still find joy in the smallest things. No one can avoid times of fatigue. No one can be strong forever. But the important thing is that we know how to keep our heart from being carried away by the worries of life. Remember that we cannot change the world, but we can change the way we perceive that world. The way to help transform bad karma from the past does not lie in a miracle or any mystical ritual, but in the change in perception and action of each person. Bad karma is not an unchangeable life sentence, but the traces we left from the past waiting for us to use wisdom and compassion to transform. Some people, when hearing about karma, feel fear, thinking that what they are enduring today is an unchangeable fate. But actually, karma is like a river that can be guided if we know how to direct it. A person may be born in poverty, but if they know how to strive, accumulate virtue, and do good, they will soon see their life gradually change for the better. Conversely, a person with a good starting point but who does not know how to preserve it and sows more bad karma will eventually suffer. To transform bad karma, first one must clearly realize that karma does not come from anyone else but is created by ourselves. When understanding this, we will no longer blame fate, no longer resent life, but instead be proactive in changing ourselves. When we change, karma also changes. One of the most important ways to transform bad karma is to know how to repent. Repentance does not mean just saying sorry or performing a ritual, but is the awakening from within the heart, the realization of one's own mistakes and a sincere desire to change. When we sincerely repent, bad karma may become lighter because we no longer continue to sow wrong things. Like a wound, if we continue to hurt it, the wound will become more serious. But if we know how to care and heal, gradually the wound will close and no longer cause pain. Besides repentance, we also need to act virtuously to compensate for the mistakes in the past. A person who once caused pain to others, if today they know how to love and help others, then gradually the evil karma will also be dissolved. Doing good does not mean doing great things, but sometimes only a smile, a word of comfort, a forgiveness can create a positive change. A small lamp can dispel the darkness in a room. A virtuous heart can also erase the bad karma of many previous lives. Besides that, an important factor in transforming bad karma is letting go of resentment. Many people live in suffering not because they are enduring the retribution from bad karma, but because they cannot let go of what has passed. Resentment is like a fire burning our soul every day. If it is not extinguished, we will live in torment forever. When we forgive, not only are others liberated, but we ourselves are also liberated. Letting go does not mean being weak, but knowing how to look further, understanding that everything is a lesson for us to grow. Another way to transform bad karma is to cultivate body and mind. When our heart is pure, we are no longer easily caught up in greed, anger, and delusion, thereby reducing the creation of bad karma. Meditation, chanting, listening to the teachings of wise people can help our heart be more stable, helping us have enough clarity to make right decisions in life. When we live mindfully, every word and every action is conscious, we will avoid many bad karmas that we might have unintentionally created before. Finally, the most important way to transform bad karma is to live with a compassionate heart. A heart that knows how to love and empathize with the pain of others will not easily do evil. When we sow love, we will reap love. When we know how to help others, we ourselves will be helped when needed. A person may have made mistakes in the past, but if today they know how to live with compassion, their future will completely change. Karma is not a fixed thing, it is just the result of what we have done. And if we change our behavior and thoughts, the result will also be different. This life has nothing fixed. Every day we live is an opportunity to create a better future. Instead of fearing bad karma, learn how to transform it with love, with tolerance, and with virtuous actions. When our heart is bright, the path of life will naturally open up. We will stop tormenting ourselves for things that cannot be changed. We will stop regretting things that have passed, because everything has its reason. Some losses are necessary for us to learn how to grow. Some doors close not to make us sad, but to lead us to another more suitable path. Some pains are not to torment us, but to let us know how to treasure days without pain. Karma in life, no one can predict. But every person we meet, everything we experience has some meaning. Sometimes a fleeting meeting can also change a whole life. Sometimes a word from someone can also become the motivation to help us step forward. Nothing is a coincidence. It is just whether we have enough mindfulness to realize it or not. So instead of asking why everything happened to me, try asking yourself what I can learn from this. Instead of blaming fate, try changing the perspective. When something not as expected happens, maybe it is not a misfortune but an opportunity for us to grow. When someone leaves, maybe it is not a loss but a reminder that we need to learn how to love ourselves more. Life is not always easy, but if we understand that everything has a cause, we will no longer have to live in frustrating questions of why, and we will know how to accept, treasure, and live better each day. We will no longer fear changes, because we know that no matter what happens, it has its own meaning. Everything that happens in life has a cause. And when we understand this, we will no longer fear, no longer resent, no longer cling to what has passed. We will learn to let go of things that are no longer suitable. We will learn how to be grateful for what has come and gone. And more importantly, we will learn how to live fully and peacefully. Simple actions but bring great blessings. Human life is like a continuously flowing river. We go through days and months busy with worries, sometimes forgetting that happiness does not lie in big things but in the small things we do every day. Blessing is not something far away. It does not only come from great things, from heroic merits. Sometimes a virtuous word, a tolerant look, a small action can also sow the seeds of blessings, like a drop of water falling into a lake, spreading into virtuous ripples. What we sow will silently multiply so that one day it returns to us. When we help someone with a small thing like giving way to a person in a hurry, helping an elderly person cross the road, or simply smiling at a tired person, we have given away a part of our own blessing. Not because we expect anything in return, but because this world needs more kindness. Sometimes blessings come from simple things like listening to someone express their heart. In the midst of the bustle of life, how many people are lonely, carrying thoughts they do not know how to share with anyone? A person willing to listen, without judgment, without rushing to give advice, just simply being there. Being fully with them is also a great help. Maybe we cannot change their life, but just an understanding is enough to warm a cold soul. Blessing also comes from gratitude. When we are grateful for what we have, we not only enrich our soul but also spread positive energy to everyone around us. Be grateful to parents, be grateful to those who have loved and helped us. Be grateful for life even when it is not as expected. That is the way for us to live fully every moment and sow the seeds of happiness. Sometimes just a small action can also change someone's life. A poor person receives a warm meal. A child is encouraged at the right time. A bored person suddenly receives a word of motivation. Things that seem small but have extremely great power. No one knows how far a kind action will go, but certainly it will never be lost. Doing good is not necessarily big things. Sometimes just keeping a virtuous soul, a tolerant heart is already a precious thing. When we have the opportunity to help someone, help with all your heart. When we can forgive, forgive with sincerity. When we can love, love without expecting return. Blessing is not measured by money, nor by fame. There are wealthy people who live without peace. There are people who have nothing but are light and free. Because blessing does not lie in what we own but in how we treat this world. When we plant a tree, even if only a small seed, one day it will grow green and healthy, providing shade for life. When we do a good deed, even if only a simple thing, it will also flourish, silently bringing good things. That is the law of cause and effect. What we sow, one day we will receive back. There are people all their lives busy looking for blessings without knowing that blessings are already in the simple things every day. A gentle gesture with a relative, a bit of patience when there is a conflict, a bit of generosity when someone makes a mistake. All those things are blessings. Do not wait until you have a lot of money to do good deeds. Do not wait until you have a status to think about helping people. Blessing is not something that needs conditions to be given away. Just as long as we live virtuously, even if only a small action, a good thought, a compassionate heart, We have contributed to making this world more beautiful. And when doing good, do it with all your heart. Do not do it to seek blessings, because when seeking, we have lost the true meaning of the good deed. Do it because we know it is the right thing to do, because a virtuous heart never calculates winning or losing. This life is impermanent, no one knows what tomorrow will be like. But there is one thing for sure, what we give away will return to us in one way or another. A person who lives virtuously is not because of fearing karma, but because they understand that living virtuously is the greatest reward for the soul. So no matter how difficult life is, no matter how many storms we go through, do not forget to keep a virtuous heart. Only when understanding the impermanent nature of all things can we live gently, not bound by worries. Let your heart be open, welcoming everything like passing breezes. Coming is joy, leaving is calmness. Do not let worries and anger blur the serenity in the heart. Hope that after listening to this lecture, each person will find a bit of peace for themselves, live like a flower in the midst of life, silently emitting fragrance without caring about the wind. Do not chase after the illusions of fame or the bindings of the past and future. When the heart is no longer entangled, when we learn how to let go of useless worries, that is when we truly touch true happiness. Please remember that the Buddha always taught that all things are impermanent, a human body is hard to obtain, and the true Dharma is hard to hear. Being born as a human is already a great blessing. Knowing Buddhism is an even rarer good condition. Therefore, do not let life pass in ignorance. Live so that each day passing by is meaningful, so that when closing this life, we have no regrets left. Wish everyone always peaceful and free, body and mind pure, and wisdom clear on the journey of life. Next, we invite you to listen to the content of the vow of repentance to transform karma. Living with virtue needs no calculation. It sounds like a far-fetched philosophy, but actually, this is the path that each of us can choose in life. Have you ever wondered why there are people who spend their whole lives calculating loss and gain, seeking profit and fame, but eventually are still struggling and suffering? Yet there are people who live virtuously, sincerely, without intrigue or competition, but eventually still receive unexpected blessings. This life is not random. Everything has a reason and operates according to cause and effect. It is not that being clever and calculating will win. It is not that grabbing will bring happiness. Conversely, the more you calculate, the more uneasy the heart is. The more you cling to gain and loss, the more the heart is filled with anxiety. A truly wise person is not someone who calculates better than others, but someone who understands that this life is just a stage in the endless cycle of reincarnation. What we do today not only decides the present, but also affects our own future. There is a story about a wealthy merchant who all his life calculated meticulously, keeping his wealth like his life. He never helped anyone, fearing that his money would decrease. He traded fairly, never taking a loss, but no one truly respected him. When he was old and weak, he was seriously ill, lying in one place having money but no one to care for him. Those around only came when they needed benefits and left immediately. When there was nothing left to take, he realized that he had calculated too much throughout his life but forgot the most important thing, living with virtue to be loved. Conversely, there was a poor craftsman living by his calloused hands, but always helping others when possible. He was not rich in material but rich in heart. When he was sick, the whole village joined together to help. Some brought rice, some contributed money for medicine. He passed away in the regret of everyone, leaving many blessings for future generations. Thus, we see that the vow to transform karma is not something far away, but the change in the way we live every day. Each person carries karma from many previous lives, but if one knows how to cultivate and live with virtue, bad karma can be dissolved and blessings can increase. Living with virtue is knowing how to let go of things that are not worth it, not being too calculating about gain and loss, not harming others for personal benefit. A person may not be wealthy or powerful, but if they have a virtuous soul, they will naturally be loved and respected. No matter where they go, there are people ready to help. Conversely, A person who spends their whole life competing and calculating, no matter how rich, their heart is uneasy and their mind is not at peace. Eventually it is just a meaningless life. There is a saying, if a person is not trustworthy, heaven will naturally arrange. When we live according to the path of heaven, according to cause and effect, without deceit or harming people, then even if we experience difficulties and challenges, we will eventually receive good things. That is not a matter of luck, but the fair law of the universe. Therefore, living a virtuous life is not foolish, but the wisest choice. A person living with virtue does not need to worry about more or less, does not need to calculate loss or gain, because everything has been arranged by cause and effect. What we lose today may be what we borrowed before. What we receive may be the blessing we have accumulated from many lifetimes. If understanding this, we will no longer resent or complain. Why is our life so difficult? Why are others more successful than us? Each person has a separate karmic journey, and the only way to change is repentance, cultivation, and doing good. Today, if you still have many concerns and worries in your heart, try letting go once. Do not always calculate small things. Do not always hold on to unworthy resentments. Human life is just a moment. Being happy for a day is a day worth living. Being virtuous for a day is a day of blessing. If you find this content useful, let us together spread good things to more people. Please leave a comment about your thoughts and share the video with loved ones. Sometimes what we consider unfair is exactly what is necessary for us to realize what is truly important. There are people who lose everything and then understand that the most precious thing is not money, but the people who are always beside them. There are people who only when facing illness know how to treasure every moment of life. If those events did not happen, they might forever not realize the value of things that seem small. Everything happens for a reason, but it is not for us to accept passively. Understanding this does not mean leaving everything to fate, but knowing that we can change tomorrow with what we do today. If the past has sown seeds of pain, then the present is the time for us to choose to continue sinking in that pain or start sowing new seeds, seeds of love, tolerance, and virtue. Someone treats us badly not because they were born evil, but maybe because they once suffered damage. Someone leaves us not because they do not love us, but maybe because they have their own lessons to learn. Every person who steps into our life carries some meaning. Whether good or bad, whether a help or a wound, no one comes to us without a reason, and no one leaves without leaving a trace. Understanding this, we will stop blaming the person who hurt us. We will stop tormenting ourselves for things that cannot be changed. If we live virtuously and sincerely, we will receive peace. If we live selfishly and cause pain to others, we will encounter unsatisfactory things. Cause and effect is not to punish anyone, but is just the natural operation of life. When encountering difficulties, humans tend to complain and blame. But instead of asking, "Why do I suffer?" we should ask ourselves what we did to lead to this result. Understanding that, we will reduce resentment and know how to change ourselves to create a better future. A person living in anger and jealousy all their life will only encounter sorrow. A person who knows how to love and share will gradually see life more light. This life is always changing. Nothing is forever. What we have today may be lost tomorrow. But if we understand cause and effect, we will no longer cling or worry too much. We understand that losing something may be because the karmic connection has ended. And instead of suffering, we learn how to accept. When the karmic connection comes, welcome it. When it leaves, gently let go. Living according to cause and effect is knowing how to adjust oneself, living virtuously, being grateful for what one has and accepting what cannot be changed. When understanding that, we will reduce worries and find peace in our own souls. Letting go to make the heart light. Letting go does not mean losing but liberation. Those who do not understand the path often think that letting go is giving up what belongs to them, a loss, a disadvantage. But actually, letting go in Buddhist teachings is not giving up life but giving up the binding of the heart. Letting go does not mean being indifferent or cold to life, but living in the midst of life without letting the heart be bound by worries and anxieties. Sentient beings suffer because of attachment to material things, fame, affection, past, and future. All are invisible strings binding humans. We keep holding, keep clinging, and keep fearing loss, so that each day passing by, the heart becomes heavier and more uneasy. The Buddha taught that if one wants to find serenity, one must first know how to let go. Letting go of desire, letting go of anger, letting go of delusion, then the heart can be free. And when the human heart is no longer agitated by desires, anger, and resentment, it will naturally feel light and serene. To let go, first one must contemplate the nature of all things. Everything in this world is formed by conditions, and when conditions end, all also vanish accordingly. Nothing belongs to us permanently, nor does anything stay unchanged forever. Like flowing water, like clouds in the sky, all are only temporary, gathering and then dispersing. If we understand this, we will no longer be stubborn, no longer suffer when losing something in life. Contemplating impermanence is also a way to practice letting go. Impermanence is the nature of the world. This body is impermanent, this property is impermanent, the relationships we have are also impermanent. Today we may be wealthy, tomorrow we may be empty-handed. The person we love today may not be beside us tomorrow. If we do not accept impermanence, we will forever sink in suffering. But if we understand that everything will eventually change, we will no longer fear or suffer from loss. In life we often suffer because we always want more than what we have. But when knowing what is enough, we will no longer chase after external things and lose the inner peace. Contentment is not accepting a life without effort to move up, but knowing how to treasure what one has and not letting the heart be dominated by endless desires. An important factor helping us practice letting go is nurturing a compassionate heart. When the heart is full of compassion, we will no longer keep anger and resentment, no longer resent those who have hurt us. The person who holds on to hatred is the one who binds themselves in suffering. When forgiving, we not only liberate others but also liberate ourselves. Knowing how to love, knowing how to forgive, our heart will be lighter, no longer suffering from attachment. Letting go is not a matter of one morning or one evening, but is a persistent practice in daily life. Every day we contemplate to realize unnecessary things that we are trying to keep, step by step putting them down, step by step feeling lighter, until one day when the heart is no longer entangled or bound, we will see that life has been serene for a long time. Life is inherently just a temporary realm, like clouds in the sky, like water flowing through a stream. All will eventually pass. What we try to hold on to today may vanish tomorrow. What we consider ours is actually just a temporary karmic union. If attached, we suffer. If let go, we are leisurely. A casual look, a thoughtless word, a small action can also make our heart oscillate with worry for many days. Humans easily let the heart be bound to trivial things and then torment themselves. We suffer from criticisms, get upset by injustice, and feel distressed by losses without realizing that all those things are just like clouds in the sky, fleetingly coming and then leaving. Excessive worry only exhausts us without helping to change anything. The most important thing is still living well with the present, because the future is something not yet graspable, but today is passing every moment. The future has not come, but if we live well today, then tomorrow will naturally be arranged. Fame and profit, affection, past and future, all are just waves in the human heart. When we cling to them, we are like a small boat carried away by waves, unable to find the shore. But if we know how to let go, accepting all arrivals and departures as a natural thing, then no matter how large the waves are, the heart is still as peaceful as an autumn lake with few ripples. When the karmic connection comes, welcome it happily. When it leaves, gently let go. All arrivals and departures have their own karmic causes. When conditions gather, all things harmonize, people meet, and blessings appear. When conditions disperse, all things change, separation occurs, and one cannot force what one is holding in hand today. Body, property, relatives, fame, all are temporary karmic connections. They come when conditions are sufficient and leave when conditions end. If one attaches and tries to cling, one naturally brings suffering into the heart. What belongs to us was never truly ours. What is not ours will never belong to us. People in the world, because of attachment to fame and profit, develop desire and compete for gain and loss. When lost, they suffer and are miserable. People in the world, because of attachment to affection, are deluded and linger without letting go. Please remember that all meetings in this world are just like waves of the ocean. People who once loved each other may one day have to separate. When the karmic connection is full, they meet. When it ends, they separate. That is natural. If one keeps regretting a person or a past affection, it is no different from holding a faded flower and crying. While outside, spring is still brilliantly blooming. People in the world, because of attachment to the past, live in pain forever. But the past is only a shadow in the mind. It is no longer the truth of the present. No matter how much you regret or wish to turn back time, you cannot do it. Like a river that has flowed past, the water gone cannot flow back to the source. Let what has passed be like clouds floating gently and vanishing. People in the world, because of attachment to the future, worry without end, but the future has not yet come. Why do we bind our own hearts in things that have not happened? Like a seed in the ground, if there are enough good conditions, it will naturally sprout. Worrying or fearing does not make the seed grow faster, but only makes our heart more troubled. Live fully with the present moment. When the karmic connection comes, welcome it happily and treasure what you have. When it leaves, gently let go, no regret, no complaint. Just like a flower blooming when spring comes and silently falling when autumn arrives, no suffering, no entanglement. If one knows how to let go, the heart will naturally be at peace. If we no longer attach, this life will be light as floating clouds. Light your own wisdom so that in this temporary realm, the heart is still quiet as an autumn lake, neither moving nor swaying, peacefully going through gains, losses, meetings, and partings, understanding cause and effect to live at peace. In this life, nothing happens randomly. Everything we encounter, whether happiness or suffering, has its reason. The law of cause and effect operates naturally, favoring no one, skipping no one. When we know how to live with sincerity, cause and effect will smile at us. And when we know how to love ourselves and love others, then no matter the past, we can still create a brighter future. Being a person of virtue is not only a principle of living but also the key to opening the door of peace and inner tranquility. A person of virtue is not the wealthiest, most powerful, or most talented person, but the one who always lives straight, sincerely, and knows how to care for others. Virtue not only helps us avoid worries in life but also creates a good energy spreading to everyone around. When a person lives with virtue, their soul will be light as clouds, not entangled by greed, anger, or delusion. There are people who spend their whole lives chasing after fame and money, but eventually realize that all they have is loneliness and anxiety. Property can be accumulated, but virtue is what keeps a person standing firm before the storms of life. A person can be wealthy, but without virtue, sooner or later they will fall into the cycle of decline. Conversely, a person with virtue, no matter the circumstances, is always serene and free. A person of virtue always keeps an upright heart. They do not harm others for personal benefit. They do not trade their character for a bit of profit. It is that uprightness that helps them have respect from everyone and, most of all, peace in the heart. When a person does not have to live in lies, does not have to worry about wrong things they have done, their heart will naturally be light and serene. Being a person of virtue is also knowing how to be kind and tolerant. No one avoids being hurt in life, but a person of virtue does not hold resentment. They know how to forgive, know how to let go of things not worth minding. They understand that holding on to hatred only makes them more miserable when living with tolerance. They not only help others be serene but also liberate themselves from invisible burdens. Another important thing is that a person of virtue always keeps their promises. Their words are not flowery but always sincere and reliable. In a society where many people easily break promises and betray to achieve personal benefit, A person of virtue is like a bright lamp in the dark night. They keep their word not because of fearing to lose anyone's favor, but because they understand that keeping a word is keeping their own character. A person of virtue does not need to worry about gossip. They do not compete, do not fight, do not live with jealousy. They know that each person has a separate path. No one can take anything from anyone if it is not theirs. When the heart is not caught up in comparing and winning, they will always feel sufficient and happy with what they have. There is a very good saying, a person can lose everything, but if virtue remains, they will have everything again. This is very true. Virtue is what helps a person build trust from others. A person can be wealthy thanks to intrigue, but without virtue that wealth will also soon vanish. Conversely, a person of virtue, even if losing everything, can still stand up from empty hands because around them there are always people ready to help. A person of virtue is also a person of gratitude. They never forget the affections they have received. They treasure every small thing in life, from a meal, a word of encouragement to those who helped them during difficult times. Gratitude helps them always feel this life is precious, helps them treasure the present and never sink in useless complaints or regrets. Most of all, being a person of virtue is knowing how to give. They do not calculate when helping others, nor do they expect to receive anything back. They help not because they want to be praised, but because they truly want to share, and that giving helps them receive better things. A selfish person can have many things, but they will never have true love. Meanwhile, a person living with sincerity, though not wealthy, always has precious relationships beside them. A person of virtue does not fear loss because they understand that property can be lost, but the good things they have done will always remain. When they pass away, what they leave behind is not a huge block of property, but values of personality, lessons that others will always remember. Being a person of virtue is the happiest way to live, because when we live virtuously, the heart is no longer bound by worries, regrets, or fears. When we know how to let go of things not worth it, when we know how to live sincerely, when we know how to help without expectation, when we know how to forgive and know what is enough, then naturally the heart will always be peaceful. This life is short, but what we leave behind can be eternal. A person may not be remembered for wealth, but will forever be treasured for what they did for others. Therefore, live so that when looking back we do not regret. Live so that when closing our eyes the heart is serene. And live so that no matter where we are, we carry peace within our own soul. Everything that happens in life has a cause. Nothing is random. Every meeting, every joy, every sadness, every challenge we experience are links connected together in the endless chain of karmic connections. A flower blooming brilliantly today is not because there was a seed only today. It is the result of many days burying itself under the ground, welcoming the sun, receiving the rain, and fighting against storms to be able to rise. Humans are the same. What we have, what we are facing, whether happiness or suffering, have their origins in the past. The seeds of yesterday were sown until today. They bloom into flowers or thorns. No one can change that. But when understanding that everything has a cause, we will no longer resent or blame fate. Instead, we learn to welcome and transform so that things not yet good become better. There are people born in luxury. Some start with empty hands. Some are smooth throughout life. Some are struggling and difficult. But instead of being jealous or blaming fate, try to look deep into the nature of everything. Happiness or suffering is not only the result of what we have done, but also an opportunity for us to learn and grow. If a person always receives good things, they may never know how to treasure. If a person has never fallen, they may never understand the value of standing up. The difficulties in life are not punishment. They are just the lessons we need to go through to become stronger. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear Buddhists and beloved viewers, first of all, we would like to send our deepest gratitude to all of you for spending your precious time following the video on the Linghung Buddhist channel. It is your interest, love, and support that are the great motivation for us to continue the journey of spreading the light of Buddhism to everyone. Each video is performed with dedication and a desire to bring meaningful lessons about cause and effect, reincarnation, compassion, wisdom, and how to apply Buddhist teachings to daily life. We hope that these shares will help you find peace, mindfulness, and happiness in every moment of life. For the channel to grow more and spread more good values, we kindly ask you to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel, and at the same time turn on the notification bell so as not to miss the latest content. Your support is a great encouragement for us to continue serving and bringing more meaningful content. Wish you and your family always peaceful, healthy, and all the best.